What is going down? It's DJ Ash Noble here. Welcome back to another stream. We're doing the reminder stream just to let you guys know that tomorrow is Sturmfest in Kettering. So I'm super excited for this one. And if you didn't know, I've been booked for this year's Stromfest to play a 45-minute bounce set on the main outdoor stage. So there is actually only one stage. I think there was like a plan to have two stages, like an indoor and an outdoor stage. But I think they could only go as far as getting the outdoor stage for this year. So yeah, so Stormfest. If you don't know what Stormfest is, then you don't follow this channel and you've been living under a rock. So Stormfest is a small part of a festival called Ketfest, which takes place in Kettering, and it spans across the whole town of Kettering with different things going on in Kettering. So there's like different things happening all day, like food stalls, and there's like other different bits of live music in like different areas of the Kettering town. And essentially, cutting the story short, Sturmfest, they take over what's called the yards in Kettering, and they put like a family friendly sort of outdoor festival rave on, and they play all kinds of music, from house music, sort of techno music, trance music, all the way up to like jungle, drum and bass, hardcore. And it's like a friendly family festival during the daylight sort of daytime into the evening, and then from sort of like 8 p.m. they sort of say, look, it's time for the kids to go home, and then it turns more into the rave. So that's when like the harder and the faster sounds, that's when they pump out. And cutting the story short, they have booked me to play this year. So for those of you who may or may not know, myself and the layman, we got booked to play last year's Stormfest, and we did like a live stage performance with our track about knife crime, and we did our positive reggae tracks live on stage at the festival. And then I kind of came on and did like some MCing and stuff a little bit later on. Did like a B2B with Sid P, and jumped on the mic over some drum and bass stuff, and really just got the crowd going. And it was a really good environment all day. So I kind of got the vibe after last year that they wanted to book me again, and I just never knew sort of roughly like how or when, because I was thinking like, what am I gonna do this year? And we've done our tracks. We could do them again, but it would kind of be like just getting the same live PA again. And I just kind of thought like, is that really like the route that you want to go down? So this time they've got me back to DJ. They want me to do a 45 minutes bounce set. So I think the festival is covering like most genres of music in the time it's on, and bounce music was like the only thing that wasn't sort of like in its place. So they kind of said like, you could play a bounce set if you want. And I was like, yeah, I'll do, I'm happy to do a bounce set. I love my bounce and stuff. So I've been putting a set together, and it's very sing along, it's very vocally, and it's going to have some like real good feel good anthems in there, some real good bounce remixes of real good sing alongs that I'm really looking forward to playing. And hopefully it'll just get like whoever's there at the time, it'll just get them, the crowd going, and it'll get the people singing. And the good thing about this festival is it's a free festival. So, like, if you come in to attend the festival in Kettering, you don't actually have to pay to get in. So it just takes over the yards, and you can just come and have a venture into the yards, and there's like food stalls and stuff in there as well. And just a genuinely like really good vibe and a really good day all around. And it's just going to be like really enjoyable. So sadly, I've there's been a few little issues, and there's been a little bit of a change around. and I was supposed to be going with the layman, and he's had sadly he's sustained a bad leg, and he's unfortunately had to pull out from coming to the festival. So this morning it was a very sort of like, oh, I think I'm gonna not be able to make it then, because how am I gonna get there? And I knew that I'd had a brief look at trains, and I just thought the train journey is actually just it takes forever. And I was looking on one website, and it said like you even like had to get a bus transfer as well, because you just couldn't. Apparently, through this site, there was just no way to get a simple sort of like train journey that would take you down to Kettering. So things went a little bit pear shaped this morning, and then I had a look on the train line app. And if you don't use the train line app, I recommend that you use it, because I've been using this train line app now for probably over a year. Or maybe just under a year, but it's benefited me like massively, because you search up like rail journeys, and it'll find like the cheapest options. So sometimes you can save like as much as like 10 quid on like a rail travel. So if you're like say going to Kettering, it might be like 45 quid, and you can literally, no joke, you can get it like knocked down to 32 quid. Sometimes you have to travel at certain times to get it at that price, but it's like it's like a big, it's a big drop in what you're paying. And if you was to go like to the normal train station itself and buy a ticket, like they charge you way more than what the app charges you. So I had a look on this train line app, and luckily there was some deals on. There was, I could like travel for a little bit cheaper, and it meant that I could make the trip in one day. I could travel and could go to the festival, and then I could actually leave the festival on the same day, and come back and be home sort of quite early-ish on, well, about quarter to one in the morning, to be exact. So I said to the guy at the festival, I said, look, I'm happy to do this. We can arrange this, but I'm gonna have to have the set time change. I can't do the 1 a.m. set time that I was originally on. So they've actually changed my set time to 7 o'clock. So I'm on 7 while 7:45. So I'm still happy with that, because I think there'll still be, it's going to be still sort of daylightish, and there'll be a nice, good environment there, and I'm quite looking forward to the vibe of it. And I'm really buzzed for the set. Don't get me wrong, and I'm just sort of like really happy that something could have been resembled, because the Sturmfest, the brand itself, it kind of holds like a special place in my heart. Like there's certain brands and certain events, as I'm looking over on my flyer wall, that I played for, and I kind of feel like that it's not just a gig. And I feel like I have a connection and a good friendship with the promoters, and I feel like that I've just got a really good sort of like, there was just such an enjoyment and a vibe at the event. Like when I play for Bounce to Your Drop, it's always, Bounce to Your Drop, they're like my second family, and they've given me like, if it wasn't for them, like I've had so many, they sort of, for me, when I started sort of on this DJing journey and stepped out of the MCing journey as much, they sort of gave me that real first step into playing to a little bit of a bigger crowd, and playing like a little bit of a bigger scaled event, as opposed to playing just a little event that doesn't really get that busy. When I played the first Bounce to Your Drop, that club got rammed, and I was on stage, and it was the first time that I actually felt like, I was actually like a part of something, and a little fridge behind the booth, where we could like get drinks and stuff, and just felt like, you was actually part of something a little bit more. And Stormfest kind of gave like that same atmosphere as well, where you had your own little sort of like, you could go back behind somewhere and grab a drink, and you felt different to the normal ravers that were at the festival, and that is kind of what you want to feel like when you're an artist yourself, but not someone who just plays a set and then. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love being on the dance floor. I love having a dance and a rave. But it's nice to know that you can go to these like back rooms and VIP rooms, and that you can that you feel a little bit more like you treat like an artist, and not just someone who plays a set and then you just go back to being an ordinary raver. So Stromfest, I was really sort of buzzed that I sadly didn't have to, that I didn't have to pull out, because obviously, if I'd have had to have pulled out, it would have been upsetting. And then you see all the videos of the other people there and the event going off, and you think, oh, I should have been there. This should have been me playing, and it would have been a little bit of a sad disappointment. So I was gutted. That there was that sort of like possibility of me not obviously being able to play, being able to perform. And then obviously, obviously not the layman's fault. Wasn't blaming the layman, like these things happen, but cutting the story short and cutting it back to the point. It was just really, sort of exciting that things could get resembled, and it kind of, because I knew sort of like for most of the week I've known that the layman's knee, it's not been too good, and I know he's not been feeling too good over it, and long distance driving on the clutch is just not good for it. So I was kind of hoping and praying, but when it kind of lingers in your mind, and and you just don't know if you're going to be going, and it's a little bit of a disappointment, and and it's lurking over you. So now I know, obviously tomorrow, that I'm definitely going, and nothing's gonna stop that. It's kind of like made me just like super buzz for it, and I feel like now I can kind of focus on it, because I'm not gonna lie, like I've been kind of trying not to think about it, because I didn't want to think of that hope of like not being able to go. As you know, and I've said it in like countless streams, that I hate like having to let down or like pull out of a gig, because like when I feel like when you accept a gig, like you kind of committing to a job in a way, and like promoters, like they pay to get flyers printed with your name on it, and then they arrange set times, and I know myself at work, we're planning a work event, and we've been having to plan all the set times, and it is like it's a real ball ache, and promoters say like ravers who just come and enjoy a night and have a good night, they don't see all the stress that goes into putting an event on. And because I've got friends that put events on, and because I DJ and I see a little bit more into how events work, I can understand. So someone pulling out or saying, look, I can't make this event, or I'm not going to be there, can contain like a whole load of stress that a promoter doesn't need, because then he's got to find another person. So, like for example, if I couldn't have resembled this situation today, and I'd have had to have said, "Look, sorry, I can't make it tomorrow," that only gives the guy like literally, just over 24 hours to find somebody else to, to take that slot. Whereas, say if I'd have said on Monday, "Look, I can't make it," at least it gives them like four, good sort of like 4 or 5 days to be able to say, "Look, we need a DJ for so and so, and whereas now, obviously, it's been able to have been resembled, but he's still had to change set times around, and there's other people that play at certain times because it fits them, because they're traveling, or they've got to be back on the road for a certain time, or they're at another gig first, or they go into another gig after. You know how it goes. It's a very stressful time, so I understand it for promoters, and I just hate having to give a promoter like that excess stress. And that was why, obviously, last weekend at Bounce to Infinity, when we was in Stoke, that was why I offered to cover that set, because I thought, it's just stress for the promoters. Whereas if I just said, look, I'm happy to jump back on and do something, just to fill that gap in. That's why I offered to do it as well, because it was, it was that chance there, for them to not have to think, right, what am I going to do, don't worry, I'll jump on and cover it. You know, it's only the second room. It's not getting like mega busy, so people aren't going to think like, why is this person back on again? And then it was just a case of, look, you know, I'll cover the set, and I did. You know, so you know, I can understand like it is stressful situations. So unless I absolutely have no choice, you know, other than to pull out, I don't like to do it. Like, you know, if there's any way I can resemble it, like obviously today I really wanted to resemble this, and you know, I really wanted to say, look, you know, I can still make this event. So I made it like an option to try and explore different avenues. And I thought, look, there's got to be a cheaper way to get there. And, you know, there's got to be this, that, and the other. And I just thought, you know what? Like, this is just, you know, this is good. And now I can actually make it. So I'm leaving Hull. I'm leaving around there. The train leaves at 10 to 1, and I get into Kettering for about half 4 or something like that. So the festival starts at 4, and then like I get there like something like 4:35 into Kettering, and then I've just got to like literally walk to the actual festival itself. So sadly, I'm not going to witness as much of the festival as I wanted to witness, because I'm on the decks 7 till 7:45. My train back, it leaves about 10 to 9. So like I'll come off the decks, and literally by about sort of 7:15. I'm gonna be thinking about walking back to the station just to make sure that I don't miss the train. And obviously, when I get there, like, cause on the way it's like there isn't as much as like a rush. So like on the way there, I can kind of like sort of suss it out. So when I get to Kettering, you know, how long does it actually take me to walk from the Kettering station just to the yards? And when I looked on the maps, it's not a mega far walk. And Google Maps, they always like, because Google Maps, they try to like they try to estimate like how long it'll take you to walk somewhere. You know, you can put it in on the destinations, and it'll say like 19-minute walk. And like a 19-minute walk, that normally means I can walk it in about 13 minutes, because I'm a fast walker. And you know, everybody walks at a different pace. Do you know what I mean? So I think like them destinations and them directions, you know, they're full of crap. They don't work. Like they give you a good estimate. Don't get me wrong, but are they right? They're by no means right. And the same with cars as well, because you know it can tell you like it's going to take you 2 hours in a car, for example, but you don't know like whether you're going to hit traffic, or you don't know whether there's going to be a lane shut off on the motorway that's going to slow you down, or whether part of the motorway is closed, so you turn off and go on an A road. You know, all these different things can happen. And you know, and like with walking, like, you know, people walk faster than other people. And you know, some people know like, oh well, if you cut down this alleyway, it takes a couple of minutes off, you know, that kind of thing. But what I do know is that the train station, when I looked on the maps, it didn't look like it was far from the station at all. And you know me, I don't call myself the king of walking, but I do give myself a good walk. I walk to a lot of places. When I did the gig in Manchester a couple of weeks ago, about sort of 2 3 weeks ago now, I walked from the train station to the venue. I walked back to the train station through the Manchester town the next day. You know, when I obviously came back to come home. And then when I went to Stoke last week, and we had to get off at Manchester Central, and then I had to walk to Manchester Piccadilly. So from the Victoria to the Piccadilly, I walked that. You know, when I went to the Pirate Studios in Leeds, March time or whenever it was, I walked from the Leeds train station to the Pirate Studios. And you know, I said about a half an hour walk. I walked it a little bit quicker, but you know, I'll do it. I'm always up for a good walking challenge. And when it's new areas as well, it's nice to, you know, I put the maps on and just put the directions on, so I sort of have an idea of where I'm going. But like, you know, but it's nice to have a look around and sort of see like what's what. like when I was in Manchester and I walked Piccadilly, it was just nice. It took me through like some of Manchester that I'd not seen, and it was just nice to explore something a little bit different and stuff like that. And then obviously, it just gave a little bit of a different vibe. And then, when I got to Stoke, it was nice to have a little walk around some of the areas of Stoke, like from my hotel to the nightclub. I walked there and I walked back. It wasn't like a mega long walk, but like it's just nice to explore and see. Whereas other people, they just think, oh, we'll have a taxi, or we'll see if we can jump on the bus, or we'll grab an Uber. And they all add up as well. They all add up on your journey. And I don't mind walking like 13 minutes somewhere. 13 minutes is nothing. Like when I'm at home, I walk to work every day. I don't get a bus. If I'm like going somewhere in town in Whitefordgate, I always walk there and walk back. If I'm going to the studio when we do our studio on a Thursday, I walk to the studio, from my house just to the top of Beverly Road. And I like a good walk. I like just taking the atmosphere in, surroundings, headphones on. So that's the kind of thing I like to do. So yeah, so I'll get into like I say, I'll get into Kettering about sort of just 4:30, just after, and then we'll walk over to the yards, and then I'll be on the stage at 7, and we'll just take it from there. And then like I say, about 10 to 9, I'll jump on the train to come back. So it is going to be more kind of like not turn up and play your set and go, but it's going to turn up, little bit of chill time, play the set, little bit of chill time, and then go. I ain't gonna be able to catch like loads of stuff. And sadly, I was supposed to be emceeing on a garage set as well, which sadly that just didn't happen. However, never say never. All I'm saying is never say math. You'll understand why I've said never say when I do the aftermath, because things work in mysterious ways. That's all I'm saying. I'm not promising anything, but you might hear this story on the aftermath of how I stayed there till like 2 in the morning. You know what I mean? That is all I'm saying. But at the moment, the plan is this train time to come back. But you'll find out in the aftermath, and I'll tell you all about it. And I'll try and get video footage as well. I say this like on all the sort of like streams. When I did the Bounce to Infinity gig last weekend, I opened up the second room, and opening up the second room is always like a little bit of a hit and miss. And it was just one of them where like the main room was getting all the traction, and there just wasn't really much to film, like because it was a quite an empty room at that point. And then when I jumped on and covered the set, the room got a little bit busier. But I just thought, like from an events point of view, like if you're putting up videos of an event like not looking that busy and not looking like it's doing well, it can give the event like a bad reputation, and it can give like the event sort of like a bad um like people will think like, oh, I don't want to come to that. It don't look like it gets busy, and people judge. People don't look and think, oh, it was first set in the second room. People just think like, look at that video of that event that was supposed to be nearly sold out, and the second room was quiet. Do you know what I mean? Or that video, it looks like it's quiet. People won't think, oh, it's the second room or it's the first set. And just the second room, the truth be told, in all honesty, it never really exactly got rammed. There was times where a few people like ventured into it because, they realised there was a second room there. But, the main room was obviously the one getting all the action. So, I took a couple of videos, but I just chose not to hammer the social with all these videos of an empty room with hardly anybody really in it, for that kind of thing. So tomorrow, if things go well, and if things, and if it looks quite busy out there, and it looks a good vibe for me to take some video footage, I'll try and get some, and I know other people will be taking videos and stuff like that. You know, there's always people in the crowd that get videos as well. There were some good ones last year when we like hosted and stuff, and hopefully we can make that happen again. So get some really good footage, because I put some good footage up last year. That's still on the channel now. You can watch it. I'm hosting the crowd. Layman had gone Facebook Live, and I took that and put it on YouTube. And there was some other little videos that my good pal Easy Vibe had got as well. So it'll be all groovy in that sense. So yeah. So anyway, follow me on Instagram at DJ Ash Noble, and I'll be adding to my Instagram stories. So if you don't follow me on there, when I went to the Stoke gig last week, I was very active on my story, and I was like, I sort of like documented it, kind of like a short vlog. And it was like the story viewing didn't, a lot of people sort of like viewed it, but it was quite enjoyable for me to do. And then I kind of like looked back as I was going along. Like they're only up there for 24 hours, the stories, but it was kind of like a little like story of the day, and it was like really good, because I did like a video last week when I left the house, and then when I got to the train station, and I just set off on the train, and then there was like one bye bye Hull. I was going under the bridge, and then there was like one, and I was in Manchester, and then I just left Manchester on the way to Stoke, and then I'd arrived at the hotel, and I was filming in the hotel. And I'll be doing all that again in a couple of weeks, because we've got Core Vibes, the summer sounds. Yeah, it doesn't stop. So I'm in Leicester in literally like about 3 weeks time now. um yeah, so not next week, not the weekend after, but the weekend after that, we've got the Core Vibes in Leicester. So, but I'm gonna pass through Leicester today, so I'll get a good sort of vibe of coming on the train past Leicester, which will be good. So yeah, we're gonna be at Leicester, and I'm gonna be stopping over for that one as well, because the Layman's at another event. So what's happened now is we've kind of gone on these like we started on these like paths, and we started on this journey together. I'm a DJ, Layman's a photographer. So Layman, is boosting himself like by taking photos and promoting the events. I'm boosting myself as a DJ. Now it's got to the point where I'll get booked for one event, he'll get booked for another event, but the dates will be on the same day. So when I'm in Leicester, he's actually in Scarborough. So, whereas back before, when Lehman used to just come to events for free, and, was putting himself out there as a photographer, it was like we'd go to the events together. Or like if because he wasn't like working as such, and, charging for his photography, he'd say, right, I'll come to this event with you, I'll come in on your +1, I'll take some photos for them for free, and then, if they want me, they can book me. And then, the photographing for Lehman, it obviously took off, and now he goes all over the biggest festivals in the country. He's done Loose Fest, Creamfields, Kidstock, he does the Gathering Fest up our end, he did oh, I forget the name of it now. Flashback Festival, Back to Festival. He's been on stage with some of the biggest artists in the scene. Now he's getting booked all over. So quite often now we'll both get booked for events, but there'll be like different events on the same day. So I'll be like in one town, and he'll be in like another town. So now I'm like at that point where I'm like like arranging other travel, and trying to like I'm hoteling it for some of these places now. And I bumped the price up for it, because whereas before it was just right, I'm coming down with Lee, so I just chip in my bargain of the fuel, and so I do, because of that, because I wasn't thinking about like, right, having me tea, staying somewhere overnight, and then all the stuff I'm gonna need to buy the next day, like a drink for the train back and stuff, or the journey back. I wasn't charging for all that. Whereas now, like when it came to like, I mean, Stoke, the story about Stoke. You know, I was doing that one as a little bit of a cheap freebie anyway. It was like a holiday for me, and then I covered the set, so I ended up getting sorted for it. But going back to it, you know, we've just come on this path now where we're still very much doing things together, and we're still very much close friends. Obviously, we do all the filming and stuff together, but it's just come to the point now where obviously we're just getting booked for different events, and we're not always available on the same day. And this is why I end up now, like, doing all these train journeys. But it's good and it's enjoyable. So Stormfest tomorrow. Like, comment, share. I'm going to keep you all posted as often as I can, and we'll see you all. We'll see you all. We shall see you all. Hopefully, if you go in there, I'll see you there, and take it easy. Right, let's